Hi, hi. How are you doing? I was just sitting around here in my small study and I was cleaning up. I tried to sort all of these books, but there's just too many. I need more room. I have enough books for a small library, so I don't know. Probably something to work on another time, right? Yeah, I totally agree. Let's let's step out for a moment. So after I signed off the last time, there were a few villagers who gave me all of their books and said I need to study all of this, and you can see I just piled them around everywhere. But I did make some progress. So what we have here is a little witch hazel altar and the Book of Shadows. You can see the shaders make it a little hard to read, so I would recommend just putting it in your hand, and that makes it a lot easier. And there's a lot of interesting things regarding the mod Hexerai. So the Book of Shadows is what you get first thing in the quest for Herbology. So you're the first thing. You get a Book of Shadows for free to get access to everything that is going on within Hexerai. You have to know, to practice Herbology is not to grow, it is to listen. Roots twist towards secrets, petals bloom in silence. Their poisons can kill, but their patience, that can transform. You will learn to whisper to leaves, to read the curl of a fern like a prophecy. But take care, something in the earth do not want to be found. Overall, Herbology is the topic of plants. But that comes second. I would like to start with the topic of arcane arts. And as I lost pretty much all of my gear through an unfortunate event, I discovered a small bug that was fixed until now, but I went ahead and crafted the novice spellbook to get an universal break. The novice spellbook is relatively easy to craft, just a book and a full set of iron tools, and you get a book that allows you to create spells. Every mage begins with a vessel, not a vow. You can see here the default key to create a new spell is the C key, and if I have the book in my hand and press C, we have up to 10 spell slots that we can use. And I did create two of the easiest spells that you can create. The first is a touch and break spell, and you can always take a look via left shift what it does. And in this case, the block that I target with my hand will break. By default, it will break up to iron level because it's made of iron tools. But if I get the amplify skill, then I can also break obsidian and whatever I need. The second spell that I made is a projectile harm, and you can imagine it shoots out a projectile that does some damage. You can see all the glyphs that I have at my disposal up here, and most of them I got via the spell scrolls throughout the series so far. But how do you get new glyphs to use in your spell. For this exercise, I got myself a scribe's table. I know it's a little in between books, but either way, a scribe's table can be just right-clicked with your novice spellbook and will open up all the possible glyphs that are available. You can see it's multiple pages, and it's differentiated by 3 tiers. Tier 1 spells are in many ways relatively easy, allowing you to craft basic spells. Tier 2 is a little bit more complicated, and you need the apprentice spellbook. And for tier 3, where you have really powerful spells like creating an elytra for yourself, summon vexes, or similar things, you will need the Archmage's spellbook, which we will get at some point, but that might take a while. So in tier 1, there's a few spells I would like to have, and starting with Conjure Magelight. You can see each glyph comes with levels required, in this case 3. I do have 6, so that works out. And I also need a lantern and a torch. If I select this spell and go ahead here, you can see the lantern and the torch flowing above this table, and they will either be pulled from a nearby inventory. Seemingly, I don't have any lanterns or torches in inventories right now, or I can just toss them on the table and they will be absorbed. So let me quickly craft a lantern, because I don't have any of those. Or do I? I do. I do have a lantern. Nice. I can just toss a torch and a lantern, and now you can see the feather will write me a new glyph, in this case the glyph of Conjure Magelight. Right-clicking will unlock the glyph, and from now on I will have Conjure Magelight as a spell available. So let me open an empty page, and I would like to have a projectile Conjure Magelight. I will call it Magelight and create. And with this I can now place these small little lights wherever I want to. Just destroying it is very easy. To modify what the light looks like, we can go into spell style. And if you click on the first one here, you can choose what spell you want to modify. By default, it will select the projectile itself, so you will see something like this, but you can select Conjure Magelight, and you have this on tick effect here. We have 3 different things. We have the light, a brazier, and a wisp. We can quickly set here, okay, we want to have the brazier effect. Let's see how that looks. That's actually pretty cool. Or the wisp. That's so cute and small. I actually might stay on the wisp for here. And we can then say, okay, what type of particle do we want? We can go for bubble, for example. Which will now create a small light source that bubbles away. So every spell can be very much be modified. I can create small souls that come up here and light up my way. I might actually use this if we go for some dark experimental areas. But I think glow will be totally fine. And we can also say, okay, how many particles should spawn and how fast should these particles be. And based on that, we can set some lights that illuminate our light. So that's overall the abilities of the spellbook. You can create spells, you can modify spells, you can do a lot of things. And there's a few very nice combinations that will be possible sooner or later. But for now, as I did create my study, and I would say for a small study that should count, let us go ahead in the quests. We can collect a choice reward here. We can get a skill point for one of the trees. And as I'm in the arcane skill tree, let's actually pick the arcane skill. We can get 16 archwood scones because we got the Conjure Mage Light glyph here, which is very nice. And we can also check off a room for your research. You're required to establish a study, furnished as a place for reading, reflection, and the recording of knowledge. It must present itself as a quiet and suitable retreat for scholarly work. I think that's totally doable right now. Let's go for alchemy as well for the skill. Regarding the skill points, if we go back to the main page, there's a skill, there's a quest for skill points here. Growth sometimes comes as a token rather than a lesson. What do these skill tokens do? Let me quickly get another point for arcane. It gives me an item that I can just right click and increase increase my options for the arcane skill tree. If I hit the K button, you will find a bunch of different skill trees here, one for each element here. So we have a small mushroom here as a skill tree for Herbomancy, for example, or for arcane, an Eye of Ender. So different options through different areas, and each of those will grant you boni in different areas. For arcane, for example, we can get a bunch of mana discount, we can get mana regeneration and spell damage. We can also get Eldritch spell power and Ender spell power for the Iron Spells and Spellbook area. Or a multiplicative 40% Ender spell power or Eldritch spell power as the, let's say, biggest final spells here. For summoning, we can get a multiplicative 100% summon power at the end, but also things like casting movement speed, summon damage, or max mana. Overall, these skills should represent a little bit what the skill tree is all about. Cooldown reduction for the Technomancy skill, or block interaction range, which is, well, a very creative thing to have. I invested my 3 points for now in the arcane skill tree, so let's go ahead, get 100 extra mana. Let's go for 3 spell damage and mana regen. And if I get more, I'm probably going for the mana discount because it's very useful in the early game. Not so much later if you have a ton of mana and don't need the discount as much. But for now, let's keep it at that. Alright. I do hear a wandering trader down below, so let's actually go down, see where he is. Here. And he has a beacon for 25 emeralds. What? Or legendary ink for 34? Artisan's relic? I don't know what's going on here. I would love to have a beacon. But I think I don't have any emeralds. Do I? No. No, I don't. I did have 35 until Kelly there killed my chests. Oh well, what should I do? I will just leave him be, even though the noises are quite annoying currently. But if I get some emeralds, that would be quite nice to have. Let me sleep through the night and see if I can maybe find a few emeralds somewhere. Oh, by the way, the bed under the stairs is just because of space reasons and has nothing to do with any character in some popular movie or something. All right, bright new day. Let's see what's going on next. I went ahead and created an item which is called the charting map from Via Romana. The recipe is pretty simple, just an empty map, an ink sac, a feather and a string. And we get a map to go around. So this map has no map functionality itself, but allows us to connect paths. The basic idea here is if I have a path that goes from one place to another. Let me quickly just create some that goes like a little over here. And I take my charting map and say start charting. Then I can just walk that path. And you will see a bunch of glowing lights appear. I can then finish the charting and create a new path. These paths will only be visible if I hold the charting map, otherwise they will just disappear. And I can just put a fence here with some sort of sign, for example, a supplementary sign. And if I right click that, I can add that to a path. Can say, okay, this is called, let's just call it POS 1. I confirm that. And I can go to the other side of the path, place a sign down here, add that to the path, give it a different icon and say it's called travel destination. And if I left click a sign that is linked, I will get a small map that shows me where the path is leading, and I can just fast travel the path that I built. That is by default what Via Romana is meant to be used for. You can also remove the branch, get rid of the path thing that I created, because I don't really want that fast travel thing here over there. But I went ahead and allowed water to be a path. So I'm going ahead and set up a sign here. And I'm also going to start charting here because the water is an option. And I think I can add this to the path already. I will call this home and study. And then I can just get in my boat and go somewhere else. And you can see the flickering sometimes behind me when the path is created. And for example, I could go over here. I will say finish charting. The path is created over the water. And I can add this to the path. I think I'm just calling this forest. And now I can jump from the forest over the water to my home and study just with one click. I like the idea of having paths connecting everything, but I also like the idea to have fast travel over waterways, because going into boat back and forth is not as hard, and I'm going to get everything that I'm going to build connected via these paths, via water and via roads that I build in all kinds of ways. So, what I'm going to do is searching for stuff. I still do not have a map, but I at least can start charting. And wherever I go, I can get back and forth a lot more easily. Say hello to Corvin the Rotten. I have no idea what kind of, where this thing comes from, but it has netherite armor on and is, ouch. And it seems like he withers me on touch. I shouldn't get him, let me get near me. Oh god, that thing's dangerous. Yeah, but I can fly and you cannot. Die. Would be awesome if you dropped a piece of equipment or something. Having some netherite wouldn't be too bad, I guess. And it's over. Oh, he drops a lot of stuff. What did I get? A book with magic siphon and ricochet, a netherite hoe, which is quite nice, netherite leggings, some paper. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. I'm here right inside a witch village from Hexerai. So if you see like a village on stilts, be careful, it's inhabited by witches. But you can get some really nice loot here. Just as an example, what I have here is I got 2 coffers, and these are pretty much the same size as shulker boxes, and you can just right click them from your hand and store all the things you gather. Just so you're aware, these are really nice to be looted. You just sometimes need to find where the heck the next hut is. But I'm also gathering all of the flowers that I can get here, because I need a bunch of these for the Herbology tasks, and I think they can come real in handy when we take a look at potions. I'm currently looking for my way home. I used an explorer scroll in between, and yeah, I have no idea where I am. But we'll figure that out sooner or later. And it seems like I have arrived at some kind of structure. Is it going down there? Let me take a look. Oh, it is. And a charm of sinking and some new bread. That looks nice. Let's see what I can find. And this mod pack has so many bookshelves everywhere that I'm really not in any worries that I will not have enough books, so I'll leave them here as it is currently. but if I need any books, I can just visit any structure here and will probably find enough. So in case you're screaming at your screen right now because I'm leaving all of this here, yeah, don't worry. I'm actually curious if this structure should be underground, because it's really interesting that it is on the surface so far. Brock the Bulwark. Holy moly. That's a sturdy one. But I think I can take him on very easily. Especially because he's too big to go through the door. Oh, he's not. Okay. He can just glitch through. Interesting. Die, my friend. And you left me a bunch of... Let's take the boat and see if we can find our way back, because slowly but surely our inventory is totally clogged with everything. Which is great because, well, we have a lot of stuff, but it's not great because we can't carry a lot of stuff anymore. I just went ahead and got that chest over there, and I unlocked the leap effect. Let me show you one of my favorite spells in early game Ars Nouveau. It's very simple, it's self and leap. Leap will do something very simple. It pushes you in the direction you're looking, and you can spam this right around. So I have a good overview here where I am. I mean, I still have no idea where I am, but I might be able to get a little bit more of an idea where I need to go, and especially where I can go, because I thought we can continue this way. It doesn't look like it. I just found a pyromancer from Iron Spells and Spellbooks. Just for you as information, there's a bunch of loot down here. As long as you don't open any chests, this guy will be peaceful to you and will sell you a few very nice fire spells as well as a foiled map. This can be just a great trading partner. As soon as you start opening the chests here or down here or anywhere, there's good stuff in there. You can find a bunch of great stuff, but he will not like that. I don't really want to challenge him right now, so I'll just keep this place here in mind. And while we're here, I found an infinity ham. So this thing will just regenerate itself, and I can eat it whenever I want. It will fill up my hunger, and you can see the bone sticking out. In a few seconds it will regenerate and will be a full ham again. So infinite food forever, just by eating the same ham over and over again. And it even has a level 5 unlock and a level 10 unlock. I have no idea what they will bring me, but I can just guess that it will just be food forever, which is, in my opinion, a quite nice effect. I made it. I found home again. Woohoo! Home, sweet home. I've been nearly 3,000 blocks away. I couldn't chart everything because at some point there's just land in the way, and well, that hinders me to actually, yeah, add anything. But I added an archwood forest here. But I've been out far and wide. I looted a bunch of stuff in hopes of getting enough emeralds to buy myself a beacon. But if I take a look at my results in regards of emeralds, there is none. Here is none as well. And I think in here should be a few, 10. You can see I got a lot of stuff. I will sort this out and show you what I got regarding interesting components and not like slime balls. My chests are sorted and to a certain degree upgraded, as you can see here and here, because I just had too many mob elements and I just had too many plants to put into the storage. I also extended my kitchen here a little bit with a skillet, and I upgraded my backpack to the gold level. That's the first thing. The second thing is I did take off all the artifacts I had, and I researched all the new ones I got. So just to recollect, I had flippers to increase my swimming speed, I had amphibian boots to further increase my swimming speed and make me lose less air underwater. Not that I wanted to swim a lot, but with the helium flamingo, swimming speed applies to flying speed. That's my artifact coffer now. It will just stay here, and this room will probably continue being cluttered. Oh, and one last thing, I actually got a broom. So I got a broom from Hexerai, which just allows me to fly. And that's actually faster than I could remember. It's not going on for indefinitely, because as you can see when I get off this, it has a brush, and this brush has a durability. When the brush is empty, well, the broom just drops wherever I am. The last time I had the fun of losing a broom like this was over the void. Yeah, there's no way of turning back. You just sink slowly into the darkness. Not exactly what I have in mind. So, with this, let's take a quick look at our quests. Do I have anything new? I actually do. I observed a witch and got a few quests around wixies and potion jars and potion melders, which will tremendously help me when I'm going into potion automation for the quest here. I also got a brewing stand, which allows me to get a few blaze powder here. And I got a copper ingot, which gives me a few quests about alchemical reconstruction. In the arcane arts, there's nothing else we got, but for Herbomancy, I got the sage seeds, which give me some drying racks. Sage is a very, very useful thing if mobs are concerned, which they're not currently, but we can keep them away. I didn't find a swamp, but I found a mangrove swamp, actually. But this is not what we need. But next time we will definitely get into this, get ourselves a dowsing rod, and go further on trying to collect what we need. I have one last thing I want to get through with you before I end this episode, and that's naming my dogs from last episode. I did get 2 comments about the wolf names. The first was Fred and George from Kitsurika. Thank you very much for that. And the other one is from Legend of Frog 3794, Petfoot or Fluffy, or and Fluffy. I thought, okay, let's go with the combination. I like the F and Fs. I'm going for Fluffy for one of those. I think that's a very fitting name. And the other one will be Fred. Maybe there will be a George at some point to complete the duo. But for now, I think Fluffy and Fred will be my dog's names. So let's go out there and see. Why are you next to your shed? That doesn't make sense. Okay, Fluffy, welcome to the family, and hi, Fred. And you are very welcome to stay inside of here, but you can also wander around if you want to. You're my good boys. All right. With this, the dogs are named, and we got a bunch of new stuff. For our next episode, I'm going to dive into Herbology and potions. If you have any suggestions, what type of mage I should become? Should I go more into a nature direction or more into the research, maybe summoning or becoming an evil mage? Let me know in the comments below. I'm highly interested what your suggestions are. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.